Hey everybody, Tony D with a final hot take. We're just going to blast through the headlines. One thing I forgot in my Hollywoke hot take, Jim Brewer was on the Joe Rogan podcast a few weeks ago, actually about a month ago, and somebody sent me the link to this story he tells about the beer virus, and I think it's a very interesting one. It's one you should probably watch. I'll leave the link in the description. Don't forget, starting Monday, I will be doing one exclusive a day on BitChute and Rumble. Not here. Going to slowly start to transition off of here. So one per day is going to be just on BitChute and Rumble. I'll put the link in, but it's just I got to start trying to do something here to get my mojo going back here and try to get all the political stuff off of YouTube because they just don't want it. So blasting through the headlines, Biden's American Job Plan could cost taxpayers about $666,000 per job created. Yeah, there's a good number. I'm sure that won't fuel any more conspiracy theories. The Washington Post gave Biden two Pinocchios for claiming American Jobs Plans, his infrastructure and job proposals will create 19 million new jobs. It absolutely won't. These infrastructure plans, although that number seems about right, because this is the way the Democrats spend money. Oh, well, won't that be good? We'll make it back in 10 years. No, you won't. How are you going to make it back in 10 years when you'll do this every year? Every year you want to dump money out and pay people off to vote for you. This is an idiotic plan. It's always an idiotic plan. Half these jobs won't even exist 10 years from now. Because what do you do once the infrastructure is built? If it's built correctly, you don't need to do anything for decades after. So, Democrats and leftists in general refuse to understand that there is a cycle to the market. There's a cycle to everything. I'm in comics, and right now, comics are in the toilet. I mean, they are in the toilet. They're at probably their lowest point ever. But that doesn't mean they'll always be there. Right now, they are. Things change, the wheel turns, and who knows? 10 years from now, comics could be the biggest thing ever. But we won't know that until 10 years from now. Right now, they're in the toilet. Okay? Maybe once Marvel and DC finally go out of business, the rest of the market will recover because it'll be all new stuff. Maybe it'll go the way of the dodo and you'll never see comics again. But no one can predict the future. People say they can, but they can't. And Democrats say they can all the time. They can't. So we're betting on this new Green Deal. What if tomorrow there's a new technology? It can restore the ozone layer and remove all the pollutants from the atmosphere in a matter of a year. Then what? Now you've created all these jobs for what? Are you going to suddenly say, well, we don't need them now? No. That's the problem with these. That's the problem with government. They can't admit wrong. My own governor, Phil Murphy, tyrant Governor Phil Murphy, decided that he would have contact tracers for the beer virus. 3,000 people to call people when you get the beer virus. No one answers the phone because people have smartphones. They see the number. Oh, it's from Trenton? I don't know anybody from Trenton. They don't answer. That's why over 70% of the people called don't cooperate, they say. That really means they're not answering the phone. And I don't know what the other 28% people are doing. Probably telling them to go F off. As Jim Brewer did in his scenario, which, again, please watch that. Link in the description. And speaking of beer virus, Pope Francis calls for global governance and vaccine for all. It's a bit hyperbolic from the National Post, but this is not surprising coming from a top-down organization like the Catholic Church. Yeah, you could see how well things run in a Catholic Church, right? I mean, they're so responsive to their problems. Pope Francis is rapidly becoming the worst pope of all time. A progressive pope is not a good pope, in my view. I like Pope John. Pope John, he'd been through some stuff. I mean, he was a wreck, but for Pope, he seemed to do what he could. This guy, I don't know what he's trying to do. He's involved in everything. He shouldn't be involved in things like climate change or politics or global governance. He should be cleaning up his own backyard. Back when Pope John was around, maybe the thing with their problems weren't as public. Or maybe he was covering them up. I don't know. Probably was. Probably should have worked on that. Pope Francis, all that stuff's out in the open, and it still keeps coming. So maybe you should work on that. Get everything cleaned up on that first, Francis. Checking the trends. Gab CEO hits back at slurs from the ADL. Doesn't surprise me. Andrew Gorba, he'll hit back on you. You can't go messing with him. BLM co-founder spent, now the new number, $3.2 million accruing homes. That's multiple homes in past few years. Oh, it's all coming out. Yeah, while the riots are happening, you're wheeling and dealing real estate. Oh, that seems very capitalistic. Yeah, she hates capitalism. And yet, the funniest headline of today, though, it's over. David Hogg backs out of anti-Trump pillow company. First off, it was totally woke-tarded to start an anti-Trump pillow company because you don't like Mike Lindell. It's one thing to get into a spat on Twitter and say some stuff, David Hogg, but you're rapidly becoming the progressive, kid from college who does stuff and just fails. Maybe learn from your mistakes. Maybe this isn't the way to go to make the world a better place. Constantly criticizing people and making pronouncements, and now you've got this the good pillow thing and you're bailing on it. I wonder why. I suspect the whole thing's falling apart and he's got to get out, to save his image. But that's just a guess. How Putin or Z could blow it all up for Biden, says Yahoo News. I think Joe Biden's doing a pretty good job of blowing up Joe Biden, quite frankly. Joe Biden is on a roll. His approval rating is higher than his predecessor's ever was. Yeah, if you believe that BS. Almost 3/4 of Americans think he's doing a good job handling the pandemic. Yeah, I don't believe that number. But you go right ahead, Yahoo News. You keep reporting those numbers. You keep supporting Joe Biden. You're so patriotic. It's already starting. NBC guest attacking Chauvin jurors before they have even made a decision. Yeah, well, it's MSNBC. They'll be screaming for a riot 10 seconds after the verdict's announced, I'm sure. Well, they can't actually call for a riot. I imagine they'll say, well, this is highly unjust, but what are you going to do, angry people who have heard this from us and that we've stirred up for the last, 2 years, 5 years? What else is going on? Well, I covered the SNL thing. Soviet victims of Nazis were long forgotten group, German President Steinmeier says, head of Buchenwald Liberation Anniversary. Yep, well, everybody was a victim back then. It's a shame. It was a terrible time. Iran calls Natanz atomic site blackout nuclear terrorism. Yeah, they've been going after the Iranians a long time. Those guys should never hook up any of their computers to the internet, man. They don't stand a chance against us and Israel and everybody else. So I'm not surprised. Somebody got in there and did something, I'm sure. Incident at Natanz, not an accident. Damage was worse than Iran revealing. Maybe. Hard to say. We're on the side that wants to believe that. So I'm sure something happened. I'm sure we got in there somehow. The Mossad, those guys, they know it. They could get in there. I'm sure. Buttigieg walks back his claim that infrastructure plan will create 19 million jobs. Well, I guess. The hell are you doing, Buttigieg? every day you seem to be just as clueless as Biden, but I guess I shouldn't be surprised. I guess I should be happy Biden's president instead of you. I mean, maybe a demented mummy is better. Or is it that you're really part of the team that's controlling him, so not? It's hard to tell. Putin threatens full-scale war in Ukraine from PJ Media. Yeah, I have to take that with a grain of salt, too, because, we're talking about the right media. There's some neocons that would really love to gin up a war and reunite the country against Russia. Will it be a full-scale war in Ukraine? I doubt it. I don't see why they would need it. Understand that the eastern part of the Ukraine is mostly Russian people. Russian, people who were... When the Soviets ran the Ukraine, they imported Russians into the area. And the idea was, if you were Russian and you spoke Russian and you were a party member and all that stuff, you were given preferential treatment. It's exactly what the Han Chinese do to the Tibetans and other people. So the idea was to overwhelm the area with Russians and keep it loyal to Russians. And they've done that, which is why half the Ukraine wants to stay in the Russian Federation and half doesn't, why there was almost basically a civil war. So it's complicated. Now you have the descendants of those people. What are you supposed to do? It's not their fault their parents moved there and they were born there. They live in the Ukraine. They were born in the Ukraine. They're not Ukrainian in the sense of other people whose ancestors were from there. It's a complicated situation. It's why the Ukrainians hate the Russians. It's why they were killing each other. It's really not our business. I mean, the Russians have been controlling the Ukraine. They live next door to it. Do you not expect the United States to control Mexico? We do control Mexico. I mean, you'd be a fool to say, oh, we have no sway over Mexico. Of course we control Mexico. Mexico's very poor and corrupt. We control it. Canada, we greatly influence. Maybe you could say we even control it. They're our neighbors. We're the big dogs. It's the way it works. You don't expect the Russians to control the Ukraine. You're just not being realistic. They control it. I don't think they'll go to war over it. They might do some stuff, but I don't think it's going to be a full-blown war. And I definitely don't think we should be involved in any way. I don't see it as Soviet Union-style takeover. Just let them sort it out. The more we interfere, the worse we'll probably make it. It's not our backyard. We have bigger fish to fry. China. Antifa sets Portland ICE building on fire with officers trapped inside. At first, I saw this headline and I thought, wait a minute, is this an old headline? No, it's a new one. It's just that we've been accustomed now to this constant. This was part of their, technique to wear people down until you're accustomed to, oh, yeah, riots in Portland. Yeah, that happens every day. That's part of the leftist strategy. How's that working out for Portland? Not so good. It's not going to work out well for these Antifa types. I'm telling you, when Biden's ready, when his people are ready, they will stomp you. And then they'll call you a white supremacist, and then it'll go out in the news, and you'll be dead. So if I were you, I'd stop. Chinese official's speech exposes Xi Jinping's opinion of the U.S. Ooh. Well, I think we need to hear this. I can't imagine it's good. Biggest source of chaos in the world today. Okay. Yeah, well, I mean, what is he going to say? Is he going to say something nice? He was speaking at a special seminar to promote theoretical armament of going deep, going to heart, and going to real results. I don't know what that means. There's also an exhibition, and training and pledge of fully mindful of the paramount issues of a great nation. I don't know. They don't have good things in mind for us. Through this study, we have further deepened our understanding of Marxist political economy and strengthened our political judgment using dialectical thinking to observe the general trend, plan, and overall situation and focus on major events. Okay. Whatever, commie. Whatever. I'm just glad communism doesn't work. So you don't scare me, but again, these people do a lot of damage on their way out. Psaki warns Biden not done attacking gun rights. This is only the beginning. Yeah, she said that the other day. Look, there's only so much she can do. They don't really have the votes as long as Joe Manchin continues to be alive and some of the others, so I don't think it's going anywhere. But here's Ted Wheeler, again, S in the bed. Portland plans to combat crime with unarmed park rangers. Yes, that's right. Park rangers. Unarmed park rangers are going to combat crime in Portland, where they're lighting buildings on fire. Because nothing scares an Antifa member more than a guy who says, "Hey, I don't have a gun. Please don't light that fire. Only you." Portland City Commissioners recently voted to spend $6 million on grants to community groups to hire 24 park rangers. Well, I'm sure that will be a big waste of money. They'll be there to witness Antifa, burning another statue or a tree, and I guess we'll have a big news story about how some poor park ranger got killed by these commie idiots, and how it's so sad, and how we need more money for this ridiculous program. Ted Wheeler, again, is a disgrace. But not as big a disgrace as NYC's de Blasio. He is mum after NYPD cop seen on video being harassed. I actually saw this video. People were harassing the cops. I mean, they were out on the streets with bullhorns. They were calling them pigs. They were putting little plastic pigs on the hood of their cars. Look, I'm no fan of the cops, but if you're going to antagonize them, I think they should be able to do something. I think they should be able to arrest you. If you're going to touch their car and get in their way, the whole point of the cops is they're supposed to be available for emergencies. And if you're, just taunting them needlessly, and these guys were. I mean, watch the video. You'll find it. Just do a search. You'll see these guys taunting the cops and calling them all sorts of nasty names. I don't think, look, it's one thing to do that from across the street with a bullhorn. These guys are standing in the street. They're causing a disturbance. And they're trying to egg on the cops. And they were whipping like an American flag across their windshield. I mean, look, it's a gray area, and that's what Antifa does. They try to antagonize a reaction out of you. But I think they should have, in that particular case, I think they should have been arrested for being in the street, causing a nuisance, a public nuisance. It should have been a nuisance arrest. Just arrest them, let them go downtown, process them, let them have a bunch of wasted time and money. They're wasting everybody else's time. It's taxpayers who pay for this. If a cop doesn't come right away and I'm having a real emergency because some idiots are doing a bit in the street, then I think they're responsible. Amazon warehouse workers overwhelmingly reject unionization bid. Organizers cry foul. Yeah, they didn't want a union. A union for Amazon workers? What are you, nuts? Anyone who's ever been in a union knows the deal. I mean, it's different when you have a union for a super high-paying job. You know what's going to happen in those jobs. I mean, I have a friend who's got a union job, and he knows union guys who work on the docks, and they get paid ridiculous sums of money. They're just insanely paid. They could make $2,000 in a night. Just, in a very short time doing very little. It's ridiculous what they're paid. I mean, that's not what the unions were about. It's become grift and nonsense. What we need are competing unions. In that realm, I'm talking about private industry. I'm not the government unions I'm against, but private industry unions I'm all about. But I think it would help to have competing unions. So maybe this could help, make them more honest. They definitely need something. They need more transparency, something. Another Hunter story. I missed this one. Hunter guarded by Secret Service while enjoying drug and prostitute binge. Okay. Is anyone surprised? Not me. Sure. They probably were told, please make sure Hunter doesn't kill himself. So, Representative Dan Crenshaw says he'll be blind for about a month after eye surgery. Ooh, that's not good. Yeah, he had a post about it. Good luck to him. I hope his eye survives. I hate to see him go blind. I mean, that'd be rough. That'd be really rough. Now, learning Braille late and just losing your eyesight, it's terrible. This finally came out. I talked about it yesterday. This was in a very more obscure sort of newspaper thing, but Biden to send kids to former Japanese internment camp site. Yeah, the fairgrounds in L.A. So WND picked up on that. Yeah, I mean, can you imagine? Trump got reelected, and he does that. The outcry from California and the media would have just been deafening. But, Biden does it. Nobody says a word. Joe Biden delayed in sending condolences after the death of Prince Philip. I think that's a minor criticism considering all the effed up things he's done so far, but probably just busy. White Lives Matter events expected Sunday have police and communities on edge. I guess I haven't heard about this. What is this? They got a picture of KKK guys and Confederate flags, but is it real? I don't know. Or is this something made up on the internet? Is 4chan? Are you messing with people again? Dems plan applies Tesla tax on poor consumers. What is that? A Tesla tax? I don't even know what that is. Hidden in the bill are a raft of provisions to expand the rollout of electric vehicle charging stations. Will allow utilities to bill energy rate payers to recover the cost expanding EV charging networks. Oh, great. Well, that's just great. Great. So we're going to pay for the charging stations. I don't have an electric car. Why should I have to pay for it? Republicans call for a review of benefits for illegals in New York. Okay, good. I don't know if anything will come of it. It's New York. I assume that the Democrats run the state, so I guess it'll just be a bunch of nonsense. Police guard at Miami juvenile facility had sex with 15-year-old inmate. Not good. Not good at all. Oof. See, some cops, they're bad. FNC Wallace, Kamala Harris may not want her fingerprints on the border crisis. Yeah, someone was saying in a different article, Wallace apparently grilled people pretty good. I guess he interviewed Kamala Harris or talked about her, and they said he got that right, but whatever, Chris Wallace. Sanders, infrastructure includes housing, guaranteed health care, dealing with college debt. That's a good thing. I was trying to think how to do the voice again, but it took me a minute. Yeah, Sanders, I mean, just go enjoy your house, you old fart. Your houses, I should say. Speaking of another BLM type guy who spent his millions on houses, I'm sure there's all sorts of provisions in the infrastructure plan that is just a bunch of grift for people connected. So I don't have any faith in the infrastructure plan at all. Putin's threat to the West is laid bare in new footage. The clip with the caption "Ready for conflict" appeared to show Vladimir Putin's armored vehicle plowing through the mud to maneuver near the Ukrainian border. Yeah, maybe. Or maybe they're just jerking us around. Only St. Vincent residents who have had the beer virus jabs will be evacuated on the cruise ship. That can't be legal. I mean, you're going to have a riot on your hands, and then what? What are you going to do when all the unvaccinated people come running down to the docks and just, we're going to be killed. Fight your way onto the ship. I mean, you're screwed. You're screwed. They'll kill each other trying to get onto the ship. Human gender species planetary reassignment surgery. We now have virtual cafeteria of transhuman options, according to Zero Hedge. What the heck is this? Oh my goodness. On March 31st, RT published an article titled "Beyond Farce, CNA states there are no consensus criteria to determine a child's sex at birth." Right. The article revealed how CNN writers find it difficult to tell if it's a boy or girl at birth by peeking under the cloth. CNN reporter Devon Cole became so extreme as to state there's no consensus criteria for assigning sex at birth. Some of us found that odd because we believed ourselves to have been part of a broad consensus that has embraced 99.99% of humanity for the better part of all the millennia from cave days to now. Yeah. So, this is some sort of video about a cat man, a guy who, and another video about a girl living as a cat. Yeah, I mean, look, it's one thing to have people who want to, men who want to live as women, women who want to live as men. That's fine. Even if you want to live as an animal, that's fine. But this idea that we have to all agree that it's true or that we can't assign sex at birth, that's just ridiculous. There's science. This is not science. This is the woke religion, as the woke, not the woke, but the religious guys back in the 70s and 80s who refused to accept that the earth is less than or more than 5,000 years old. There was broad scientific consensus. They're fine to have their beliefs, but they can't demand to be acknowledged in, the idea you had to teach creationism in schools. Remember all that? I mean, it just seems silly. And finally, a bit of a white pill. You'd have to shut down the internet to ban Bitcoin, says SEC's Hester Pierce. Oh, thank God. Thank God something's safe. My Bitcoin is safe. I actually have a tiny piece of Bitcoin, finally. And it's doing well. Bitcoin's doing pretty well. This is not financial advice, by the way. I wanted to get some Doge, but I haven't been able to figure out how to get that. Anyhow, that's it for me. I wasn't even going to do news today. I was going to totally skip it, but whatever. I did the news. There was just too much stuff. I mean, I did 3 newsy type things today. So, go figure. All right, so Monday, keep in mind, I'm going to do my 4th video every day now. BitChute Rumble exclusive. It's going to be the new pattern. Going to have to, just start transitioning. We're gonna get ahead of the curve, people. Ahead of the curve. And, the BitChute and Rumble sites are doing well. I have 277 on BitChute and 75 on Rumble. So that's okay. That's that's proportionate to my hits. Whereas on YouTube I have 2,100 followers and you get 40 hits. That's not a great percentage. So maybe I'm getting more engagement. Maybe I'm getting more true engagement on the other stuff. So look at it that way. And if you're not on those sites, man, you got to be there. I mean, Rudy got booted off of YouTube. I think Crowder's gone. So, YouTube's just going to be lame, I think, after a while. It's just going to be super lame. A place where you can look for music and stuff, but nothing else. Anyhow, we'll see you tomorrow.